complex, much too complex, too complex, much too complex.
What's up, and welcome back to the BlackTrack, where I do commentary and review on old black movies with an all-black cast or at least a black lead. Today I'm going to be talking about House Party, a 1990 movie about a house schooler who defies his father and sneaks out of the house to go to a party thrown by his friend. Everybody gonna be there, so he doesn't want to become a social outcast by being the only person who's not there. You know, typical peer pressure stuff. The movie is mostly a comedy, an underrated comedy might I add, mixed with some hip-hop elements in the form of the music, dancing, and clothing style showcased throughout. It stars Christopher Reed and Christopher Martin, also known as the hip-hop group Kid and Play. Originally, the role was supposed to go to DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, but they had to turn it down. So the director, Reginald Hudlin, opened up the casting and settled on Kid and Play for the main roles. Even though both Kid and Play were in their late 20s when they filmed this movie, I think they pulled off playing teenagers fairly well, much better than some of the other characters in the movie. Reginald Hudlin wrote the movie originally as a 20-minute short film for his college thesis in 1983 and expanded it into a feature-length film after it was picked up by New Line Cinema. I wish I could see the short, but I looked all over the internet for it and I can't find it, so oh well. What I can find out though is if this movie is still as enjoyable now as it was 31 years ago. The movie just started and the house party looks like it's already going on. Dang, that was quick. This movie didn't have any kind of plot or character development or nothing. Straight to the point, huh? Nah, this party is a dream that Kid is having. He's so thirsty for this upcoming party that he's even dreaming about it. Kid, I think you might need to get out more. He's awoken by his dad, who he just calls Pop. Pop is played by Robin Harris, and he's hilarious throughout this entire movie. Robin Harris was a comedian who sadly passed away shortly after this movie was filmed after having a heart attack. Although the final film released with him in it was Mo Better Blues, House Party was actually his last role because it was filmed after Mo Better Blues. His style of comedy influenced a lot of other comedians like Martin Lawrence, D.L. Hewley, and Bernie Mac. May he rest in peace. This is a high schooler, right? Why does this room look like it belongs to a middle schooler? I think I had that tape player when I was like 9. You know what? That meme was right. Movies have a table full of food and people eat one thing then leave the house. But not so fast.
Chris, finish your breakfast, boy!
Oh, you gonna eat Pop's food. He worked too hard for that. The party is being thrown by Kid's best friend, Play, who might I add is not only the world's worst friend, but also is going to prove to be one of the worst people in this movie. He gets off to a crappy start right out of the gate by being a cheap Negro and wanting to pay the DJ Bilal in booty instead of money. Everybody in this movie is a horny teenager, so he actually goes for it. You got to know your own worth, people. The DJ is played by Martin Lawrence, and I assume Martin needs no introduction, but just in case, Martin Lawrence is a super famous comedian and actor and was the star of one of the best black TV shows ever made. It's just like a cheap Negro to promise something that he doesn't have because Play isn't even having much luck with the ladies. Oh, look at this clumsy mother. The dude says, hey, it's no sense crying over it. I'll just murder this dude instead. Kid manages to piss off one of the biggest bullies in the school, or should I say oldest bullies, because there's no way they expect us to believe that these massive human beings are teenagers. Like, this has to be an inside joke that we just aren't in on. In reality, the bullies are played by the music group Full Force and are definitely in their 30s for this role. Honestly, House Party might have sucked with actual teenagers, so I'm alright with it. My favorite is the one they call Pee-wee because of his high-pitched voice and catchphrase.
If I was you, I'd kick his fucking ass.
Kid offers to replace the milk he spilled, but I guess he was taking too long because they teleport behind him like Jason Voorhees, looking for all the smoke. Some friends y'all are. Kid actually probably could have talked his way out of this, but he let some slick talk about his moms prompt him to throw food and even attempt to throw a punch. That was an incredibly stupid idea. So they made like the Ultimate Warrior and put him down for the count. Kid knows he done messed up, so he tried to beat the news home before it can get to his pops. He does all the usual tricks. Checks the mail, tries to get to the phone before his pops, acting all antsy. You know, all the stuff we've all done before to keep our parents from giving us a reason to cry. But it seems he's in luck because no news has made it home yet. There's a running joke in this movie of people just drinking Dick Gregory's diet drink and doing nothing else, thinking it's going to make them lose weight. I can't lie, it's low-key great promotion, because this movie is the only reason I know Dick Gregory even had a diet drink. There's another gag with the TV where every time somebody is watching the TV, it's always on the same commercial for the Hey Love musical collection. Pops even makes a comment about it.
All the commercials they showing nowadays. Every TV station. Cut the television off. Coming through the damn wall.
He's funny when nobody's even in the room. I'm glad I'm not the only one who couldn't pull that move off. Kid tries to do homework and work on his rhymes to take his mind off the school calling, even doing the old school take the phone off the hook trick. For some dumb reason, he puts it back on the hook when Pops calls him downstairs to get the door. Okay, so check it. Pops calls him downstairs to get the door, but look where Pops is standing when Kid gets to the door. Dog, you're right there. Yeah, this is a black parent, alright. Then the crazy thing is, he didn't even need to answer the door because whoever it was just gave up and dropped a letter through the door. It's already established that the mail came earlier, so dang, in this universe, the school just brings the bad news home personally. Man, that's rough. They take their job way too seriously. Of course, it's the letter about the fight, so Pops lets him have it. Maybe a little too much at times.
Keep your mind on them books and off them gals, because you mess around and make the same mistake I did.
No matter how many sad faces Kid makes though, Pop's not letting him go to that party and says he's in for the night. It's bad enough that Play isn't paying Bilal to DJ the party, but he even makes dude wait on the porch while he's out setting up plays for later. Then this dude has the audacity to tell him to wait on the porch longer because he doesn't have enough room in his car for him and his equipment. Look what he's doing to it. Bilal is a jam fool for still agreeing to do this. The promise of fine women be damned. He can just masturbate to the women on his wall for all that. No matter how many girls that Play manages to round up for the party, the only two that matter are Sydney and Shireen. Literally every dude going to the party wants them. Sydney is played by Tisha Campbell, who by this point had already done Little Shop of Horrors and School Days, but it won't be any musical numbers in this movie like those movies had. It's all about the dancing. I guess it's a good thing that her friend Shireen is played by AJ Johnson, who choreographed all the dancing that they're going to do at the party. According to IMDb, AJ Johnson was in the movie School Days also, but I don't remember that. I guess I'll see when I get to that movie. Sydney goes over to the projects to game plan with Shireen. Oh look, it's a young Clifton Powell, in only his third movie role. Whoever set this scene definitely are familiar with the projects because it has all the hallmarks. Random people in the house who may or may not be family members? Check. Old lady laying on the couch? Check. Young kids who probably belong to the old lady's traveling daughter? Oh yeah. I like how the camera focuses on how weird the environment is. Like, why is nobody talking to her? Check out the commercial on the TV. Pops was right. It's the only commercial they show. Oh look, it's young Trey who we last saw in My Boys in the Hood video. Shireen tells him to make some Kool-Aid, but her uncle wants something a little more sophisticated.
Peanut, fix me some of that Dick Gregory.
The girl starts scheming on the guys that's gonna be at the party, and Shireen is basically planning on choosing everybody there. Which is how you're supposed to do it when you're young, honestly. Well, every guy except Bilal, because he's got a reputation for having stank breath. If Kid plans on getting chose tonight, he's gonna have to figure out a way out of the house for the night. And with Pops knocked out, it shouldn't be too hard to formulate a plan that oh, you just gonna walk right out the front door? Alright. Then you slam the mother. Jesus, you wanted to get caught. It's funny because he's not even running that fast, so Pops could have easily just opened the door and yelled for him to get the F back in the house. Bilal still sitting on the steps, and Play comes back with even more skeezers, so much so that Bilal can barely even fit in the car. They're not very happy he's coming along either.
Ew, dragon breath.
How far away does Play live? Couldn't Kid have just taken a bus or something? He probably wishes he did because just by chance he runs into the Full Force gang who attempt vehicular homicide. Like, it was just a school fight over some milk, dude. One thing is for sure, Full Force definitely didn't get grounded by their parents. Probably because they're 45 they damn self. They don't live with their parents live with them. Kid jumps into a backyard to hide and ends up observing one of these movies' many traditions. Random people having openly visible sex. Honestly, if I can't have a relationship where I can have butt naked sex with all the windows open and all the lights on, then I don't want it. Hey look, there's Play. Kid is saved, right? Of course he's not. Play is a douchebag. There's far more people in this house than I thought would fit, honestly. I got to admit, it's jumping. They don't throw house parties like this anymore. Kid finally shows up and Play has to pretend like he didn't know he was already on the way, just like a little narcissist that he is. Looks like all the primary players are here. We're even introduced to this massive dude who's also massively overdressed for this party. Dang man, stop dancing all aggressive, exposing all the fake walls on our fake sets. What's wrong with you? That's right. If you didn't already know, House Party was filmed on a set with a fake house constructed for interior filming. It's very convincing, and they could have fooled me because as a child I always thought they were in a real house. Bilal definitely should have charged for this. He's killing it until this dude named Chill starts bumping into the table and messing up his mixes. Chill is played by Daryl Mitchell in his very first movie role. Unfortunately, Daryl was paralyzed from the waist down in a motorcycle accident in 2001, but he continued to act fortunately. Looks like it's time for the first of many to try to get at Shireen.
Hey, why you cock blocking me, man?
Man, it ain't like that.
It's exactly like that with your hate. Kid, you better make a move fast with this Negro around. The Full Force gang is riding around still thinking about Kid. Why? It's never explained why the leader Stab cares so much, but he gives some insight into his obsession.
Ever since this fool came into my life, I can't do nothing but see him, man. I mean, I be alone with a woman sometimes, and I'm damn near about ready to wax that ass, and all I can do is vision this fool, man.
Jesus Christ, it's worse than I thought. And mad suspect. I guess that explains why he grabbed Kid's junk earlier. Bilal, you just gonna leave the DJ booth unmanned like that? Is that even possible? I don't know, I'm not a DJ. I guess Sickney was more important because his reputation and possibly his breath preceded him because she was done before he even started talking. I like how every dude in this movie tries to save face when they get turned down by trying to play it off with something random. I think he's using way too many H and S words because it's not long before Sickney is out of there. I wonder how many drinks this Negro had to get this drunk. Obviously every drink at the party because he's the only one drinking. He looks hot and I know he about to monkey in that suit. Chill asked Kid to teach him some new dance moves and it's probably in his best interest so he doesn't bump the DJ booth anymore. I'd hate for Bilal to have to rough him up. The girls start clowning him and Kid thinks that's grounds for a challenge. Hey, drunk dude kinda getting it to be so toe up. Oh well, it was fun while it lasted. Play tags in like it's the main event at SummerSlam and it's quite convenient that he just knows all the choreography. I actually kind of miss the days when dudes and females used to come up with dance routines to show off at parties. I grew up on that, and I actually kind of feel like it's making a comeback with all the TikTok dances that I see these days. I already mentioned that AJ Johnson did the choreography for her and Tisha Campbell's routine, and since Kid and Play were already backup dancers for Salt and Pepper, they had no problems coming up with a routine for the movie. It's a fun scene and I think possibly the most memorable part of the movie. I mean, who didn't do the Kid and Play dance as a kid? After showing off his moves, Shireen starts taking a little liking to Kid, but oh no, looks like Sydney already had plans for him. I knew it was no way that two females got along this well. Pops finally starts looking for Kid after giving him nearly a day's head start, and it's funny listening to him complain the entire time. Why is he walking anyway? Does this city not have any public transit? I hope he doesn't have a car at home and he was just so mad he forgot it. He gets stopped and harassed by the cops on the way, and it's kind of funny how people like to act like police harassing black people is a new thing when this movie is 31 years old and it jokes about it like it's already been happening forever and all they could do is laugh about it. It would probably make you mad if it wasn't for Pop's jokes. Kid is so worried about playing his hating that he's making a play on both girls to improve his chances. For whatever reason, Sydney is giving him the cold shoulder even though she clearly digs him. So Kid does what any self-respecting man would do in his situation. Try to talk to the friend. He gets Shireen to agree to a dance, and Sydney is even more pissed now. Yeah, this is definitely high school. That man ain't trying to chase you, Sydney. Bilal finally got him some play at this party. Hey, isn't that the Dragon Breath girl from earlier? It sure is. I guess those standards do get a little low if you ain't got chose yet this late in the party. It's short-lived because the Full Force gang is trying to crash the party. Though somehow I'm guessing Stab isn't interested in any of the women in there, so that's one less thing they got to worry about, I guess. They get denied satisfaction, and if Stab can't have what he wants, I guess nobody can because he decides he wants to burn the house down. Dude, what? Yeah, they need to just go ahead and lock this 7th year senior up. Oh, they must have heard me. They didn't need to set it on fire anyway, because inside, Player's already setting the roof on fire with his old school MC rhymes. I like how this movie is kind of a bridge between that old school get the crowd hype rhymes of the 70s and early 80s, and the more complex rhymes of the late 80s and early 90s. Kid even makes a joke about it.
Man, I like that old prehistoric stuff.
Regardless of the joke, the movie clearly wanted to pay homage to all the forms of hip hop. We get a battle rap between Kid and Play next, and I gotta say, maybe it's the old school in me, but these rhymes are better than about 80% of what's out right now. Yeah, I said it, don't come for me. Looks like Chill bumped the table one too many times and Bilal's ready to throw hands. Just breathe on them, Bilal, it'll be quick. Pops finally makes it to the house, but just by chance, Kid is upstairs at the time. That's okay. Robin Harris uses this as an opportunity to go through the crowd and clown everybody in sight like it's one of his stand-up shows. Yeah, some of his jokes are reused from his stand-ups, but if you never saw his stand-ups, how would you know?
Messing up these folks' house, know it ain't paid for. Blah, whatever your name is. Sound like something you catch on your feet.
You go home and watch The Late Show, Pops.
Won't you just go home? Little test tube, baby.
Hey look, it's 2 AJ Johnsons in this movie. I haven't seen this dude the entire movie. It's like they just told him to go stand there real quick so Robin Harris can make fun of his hair.
You know something with that Jerry curl you got on your head, you better not ever do a crime. Police never had no problem finding you. Follow the drip, follow the drip.
Kid decides to walk both girls home before it gets too late, and it looks like he's decided to take his chances with the project girl, Shireen. He even tries to kiss her in front of Sydney, so yeah, he's definitely made up his mind. He must not have been paying attention all night because by this point, Shireen is notorious for playing hard to get, and no matter how thirsty he acts, he's not getting any of her Kool-Aid, and she definitely doesn't want any of his Dick Gregory. Sydney tries to call her out for her teasing, but to me it just comes across as jealousy.
Let me tell you something. Life is short, and if you want something, let the chips fall.
Exactly. Clearly he's trying to see which one of you two is playing fair, so why not just go for yours? Your friend is literally begging you to steal it. Obviously, the walk home got her to calm down a little bit because she's all smiles by the time she gets to the door. I'd like to take the time here to point out that back in the 80s and 90s, and probably before that, black movies used the dark skin versus light skin trope a lot. Dark skinned girls or dudes were always portrayed as hypersexual or all around bad apples, and light skinned girls and dudes were portrayed as virtuous and good guys. House Party at first seems like it's going to follow the same trend with Shireen living in the projects and being super flirtatious, and Sydney acting like the morally good rich girl. But they flip it on you halfway through the movie because Sydney is actually the hypersexual and devious one who couldn't wait to get her hands on Kid before her parents got home. I like how they totally turn that around on you. They fool around a little bit, but Kid stops just short of getting in that juice box when he realizes that one condom we all kept in our wallets for 5 years is no good. It's probably for the best because Sydney's rich parents just showed up. Whoa, Tisha Campbell is in shape. Look at those abs. Kid, I think you got a few minutes. You might want to go ahead and test drive that muscle car. Her parents look like the type of people who can't wait to tell you how much they donate to their Greek organizations annually. The advantage of having a big house is that there are no shortage of ways for kids to sneak out, even if he does have to fight the guard dog. One fight he can't win though is the one with the Full Force gang who are still out to get this dude after everything they've already been through tonight. Kid is so ready to be away from these dudes that he resorts to breaking and entering. Hey, check out what's on the TV. What exactly is going on in this house? Is it a funeral home? A brothel? A gambling den? Or just Big Mama's house? There's a lot going on in here. Kid nearly gets away, but he gets distracted by these random thieves running down the street. One with a dryer on his head and another missing a shoe. They hop on some public transportation, which further adds to the question why both Pops and Kid was walking earlier. The randomness of the scene can be explained by knowing that these two guys are the director, Reginald Hudlin, and his older brother. Hey, you gotta sneak in your own movie somehow, right? The cops once again arrest the Full Force gang along with Kid, and this time they won't be let off with a warning. They all get thrown in jail. Or you can say they get thrown in prison because this movie appears to treat the two exactly the same. I've never heard of anybody being in danger of being sexually assaulted in the lockup, but in this movie it's a real fear for Kid for some reason, and Stab is the ringleader instigating the assault. And that is not surprising to me for some reason. A random prisoner who acts like he's been in there for years tells Kid that he has to entertain the other prisoners to keep their minds off his booty, and he does the one thing he does best, rap. This scene would definitely not play well today, but on top of that, it's just so many unanswered questions. Like, are they just gonna take turns and do it out in the open in front of God and everybody? Even the director said he regrets this scene. Kid uses one phone call to contact possibly the worst person he could, but in this situation it's either depend on Play or his dad. Play tries to collect bail money from the people at his party, but they are less than willing to help since he just put everybody out. So that leaves Bilal, Shireen, and Sydney to the rescue. It's kind of funny. Even though Sydney is the rich girl, it seems like Shireen comes through with the most money. Go figure. Kid raps long enough to get bailed out, and finally, for the first time in this movie, he actually has a ride somewhere. Everybody gets dropped off, and Play tries to make a move on Shireen. She's a tease to the very end, and I love it. Make these suckers work for us, sister. Of course, Play is a PAN of the highest order, so he lies on his wood and tells everybody in the car that he got a kiss anyway. Hey, maybe you should have took your chance with the dozen of other girls you kept other dudes from getting on like because of all your hating. Sydney gets dropped off and Kid shows Play how it's done. Look at him. Salty. Play tries to convince Kid not to go home tonight since he's been out so late already, but Kid is determined to face the consequences. Before all that though, Play formally submits his name, first ballot, into the douchebag Hall of Fame when he tells Kid that he's stupid for not smashing Sydney even though he didn't have a condom. Kid, you need new friends immediately. Kid gets home and sneaks up to his room a lot quieter than he left the house, I'll tell you that. I'll be damned, he's actually gonna make it into bed undetected.
I wouldn't do that just yet, cause your ass is mine.
House Party still today is a hilarious movie and has pretty good pacing throughout. Some of the jokes and the humor don't age well for everybody in every group, but if you could try to put yourself in the time period that the movie was released and turn off your sensitivities, you'll probably have a good time watching it. For me, the fact that it's overflowing with hip-hop culture is the selling point. The outfits are proven to be timeless, the dancing is on point, the rapping is superb, and the acting isn't bad either for this to be many of the actors' first movie. The movie no doubt increased the popularity of Kid and Play, and they went on to do many other movies together and even had their own cartoon at one point. There are some things that don't always make sense, but you have to remember this is a comedy first and everything else is second. If I had to grade House Party today, I'd give it a B+. Despite the flimsy premise, for me, the movie never gets old. And that does it for this episode of the BlackTrack. Don't forget to like, share, and turn on notifications, and until next time, I'll holla at you.